Why can't you economists answer questions? Should any American have to pay tax on unrealized gain? Why can't you just answer me?
Yes, there are some who should.
Who?
The ultra-wealthy who have liquidity should prepay some tax
What
on
if they
that.
don't have liquidity?
They should not have to pay, and they will owe at sale, bequest, or gift
So if you have cash, you ought to have to pay, but if you don't have to pay?
to prepay.
Hold up, did you see that exchange? Senator John Kennedy just turned a calm Senate hearing into a full-blown showdown, and the witnesses were scrambling for answers from the very first question. From dodging basic yes or no moments to defending taxes on money people don't even have yet. This turned into a clash of common sense versus confusion. Stay right here, because Kennedy's final punchline? Absolutely brutal.
Dr. Yagan, am I saying your name right? Tell me, if you were king for a day and you could rewrite America's tax code, tell me the 3 changes you would make.
Number 1, I would equalize labor and capital tax burdens at the top. There are a couple ways of doing that. The billionaire minimum income tax is one that would move in that direction. I won't rehash those details. Senator Johnson actually talked about a corporate tax integration type.
What's number 2?
Sure. Number 2, part of closing the labor and capital disparity is closing the Gingrich-Edwards loophole. And number 3 is ending abuse of trusts. So the estate tax has been eviscerated. Many of those, you take assets that you know are worth a lot. Right now they're purportedly worth a little because you haven't taken your company public. You put them into a trust, it explodes.
Do you support a wealth tax? Do you know what I mean by wealth tax?
I do know what you mean by wealth tax. The billionaire minimum income tax taxes income, and that I think is the way forward in that space.
Well, let me be a little more precise. Do you think appreciation of assets that are not sold, unrealized gain, should be taxed?
I think you should have to prepay tax on it that will eventually be due at sale, gift, or bequest.
What do you mean prepay the tax?
Sure. So if I have $5 billion of unrealized capital gains, I have $5 billion of taxable income, and I'm currently paying $1.5 billion on that. So that's a 15% overall tax rate.
Well, let's don't complicate this. I want to understand
Sure.
what you're saying. Let's suppose an American owns a piece of real estate they inherited from their father or their mother. And it was, when they inherited it, they got to step up in basis. It's worth $100,000. And all of a sudden, the interstate came through. And the property is now worth $1 million if they sell it. But they don't plan to sell it. They're going to leave it to the kids. Do you think that Americans should have to pay tax on the unrealized gain, the increase in value?
In general, no. At that level of wealth, for example, housing.
You think only wealthy people should?
At the very top, it's hard to tax,
But let me be sure I understand what you're saying. All right, let's suppose that's not just an average American. Let's suppose that's an American. What do you define as rich?
In the minimum income tax, it's $100 million of wealth or more.
Okay, so you think if you're really wealthy, you should have to pay a tax on your unrealized gain?
I think you should have to partially prepay if you're liquid.
Okay, what do you think, Dr. McBride? Do you think we should start taxing unrealized gain? And what do you think that'll do to the economy?
Well, I have several concerns about the approach. The first of which is it's completely untested. It's never been tried in this country. We have more than 100 years of history with the income tax, and
Europe's tried it, haven't they?
No, they've tried wealth taxes.
Yeah.
Their experience
How'd that
with
turn
wealth
out?
taxes has
How
been
did that turn out?
bad. It
Why is
resulted
that?
in a lot of taxpayers exiting the country, for one thing, in France, for instance, other countries that have tried it. and you suddenly lose a big chunk of your tax base that you're trying to tax there. We have that option in this country as well. The result has been that most of those countries in Europe that have tried a wealth tax have rolled them back,
Yeah.
including France, because they were administratively challenging. The basic challenge is what you're describing, trying to value assets without real market transactions. So this is a valuation dispute. It means we get the IRS engaged in yet another challenge. They're currently doing this with the estate tax. Those estates that are subject to the estate tax, those valuation episodes can go years and years and years.
Can I have 30 more seconds?
Proceed.
Dr. Is it Clausen? Clausen?
Yes.
Yeah. Why do you and Dr. Yagan, why do y'all want to punish wealthy people?
I think I can speak for both of us that we're not interested in punishing anyone. We're interested
Well,
in
you're
having
interested
a
in taxing
fiscal
the hell out of them
system.
more than anybody else.
I think
the
what
makes you think that making tax policy on the basis of class or status makes sense?
I think it's a very American phenomena that throughout the history of the income tax, we have valued progressivity, and our current income tax does that. We used to rely on things like tariffs to raise revenue. Tariffs are regressive consumption taxes that disproportionately hurt the poor. We believe in this country that those with the greater ability to pay should pay more of the burden. And that's part of what a healthy capitalism does. It enables people to gain from things like trade and technological change and business innovation, and to contribute a little more to the fiscal system when they're very successful in doing so. And I think that that's a very legitimate way to structure the tax system.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Why do you think so many wealthy people are leaving New York City?
New York City is, an incredible city of innovation, immigration, entrepreneurship.
Yeah, but why are so many wealthy people leaving?
I think there are big advantages to living near centers of entrepreneurial activity, and we see that on the West
You think
Coast
they're
as well.
leaving to be nearer to centers of entrepreneurial activity, do you?
Well, I don't think there are a lot of people, fleeing New York City. That New York City has.
Sure they are. There are thousands. I mean, there have been study after study after study. Why are so many wealthy people leaving New York City?
I think there's an enormous number of wealthy people who are in New York City and continue.
But why
to
are
be
so
very-
many leaving?
I can't speak to why particular people.
I can
leave.
tell you
I
why.
know
It's
that-
taxes. You know that as well as I do. It's
I
taxes.
think if you look at the economic,
Some of it's crime, but most of it is taxes.
well,
People vote with their feet. The same reason that people are leaving California and moving to Austin.
If you look at California, it's one of the most successful economies in the world, and it continues to be so. It attracts people.
But they're
as
losing
well.
people.
I don't think it's in any danger of decline, nor is New York City. And these are very vibrant places.
I don't think we're going to
for
ever
fundamental
agree.
reasons. Yeah.
I don't think we're going to ever agree. But I appreciate the time of all three of you.
This hearing didn't just start, it erupted. From the very first question, Senator John Kennedy transformed what should have been a calm tax policy discussion into a fiery clash between real-world common sense and academic gymnastics. You could feel the tension instantly. Kennedy walked in prepared, sharp, and determined to cut through the jargon that so many economists hide behind. He begins with Dr. Yagan, asking a straightforward question. If you were king for a day, how would you rewrite America's tax code? Yagan responds with 3 standard policy ideas: raising capital taxes, closing loopholes, and limiting trust abuses. All predictable. But Kennedy wasn't interested in warmed-over talking points. He immediately hits the one issue politicians love to dance around. Should Americans pay taxes on unrealized gains? In other words, should you pay taxes on money you haven't earned, haven't used, and haven't even touched? Rather than give a direct answer, Dr. Yagan launches into a complicated explanation about prepayment and liquidity. Kennedy tries to nail it down. Why can't you just answer me? Why can't economists give straight answers? Eventually, after being pressed repeatedly, Yagan finally admits, yes, The ultra-rich with liquidity should prepay taxes on their unrealized gains. But if they're not liquid, they shouldn't. Kennedy then gives a powerful example. Someone who inherits land worth $100,000, but after a highway is built nearby, it's worth $1 million on paper. They aren't selling it. They plan to leave it to their kids. Should they still pay a tax on that unrealized gain? Yagan dodges, clarifies, and circles around the question, deepening Kennedy's frustration. Next comes Dr. McBride, and for the first time in the hearing, someone gives a direct answer. He warns that taxing unrealized gains is untested, administratively messy, economically dangerous. He explains that European countries tried wealth taxes and they failed spectacularly, driving wealthy taxpayers out, shrinking the tax base, and forcing countries like France to repeal the policy. Then Kennedy turns to Dr. Clausing. This is where the fireworks really start. Kennedy asks why she seems committed to punishing wealthy people. She rejects that idea, arguing that progressive taxation is an American tradition, the rich paying more because they benefit more from innovation, growth, and opportunity. Kennedy pushes back with a real-world reality millions of Americans already understand. People are leaving high-tax blue states like New York and California. Not dozens, thousands. Study after study confirms it. Clausing tries to soften the argument, saying people leave for many reasons, but Kennedy isn't buying it. He points out that taxes are a cost, and pretending costs don't affect behavior violates the most basic rule of economics. This entire exchange shows the deep divide between academic theory and lived economic experience. Kennedy finally closes with the line that captures the entire spirit of the hearing. Some of you believe government can spend a dollar better than people can. I disagree. And that's the core of the debate. Do we want a system where government decides how your money should be used? Or do we believe individuals, families, and entrepreneurs should control their own economic destiny? Kennedy made his position unmistakably clear, and millions of Americans agree.